guys, welcome to my channel Elite Wrestling World. My name is GhostSaad. Thank you guys for joining me right here on AEW Collision post-show review. Collision was a very good show tonight. We are starting the build towards Double or Nothing pay-per-view, which is going to be a fantastic event. It's Saturday night and you know what that means. We start off with Prince Nana introduces the new world champion and one hell of a wrestler before ceding the floor. Fans shower him with a thank yous, Swerve chant. He says it's been a hell of a week with a new TBS champion in Willow Nightingale. Adam Cole can walk. Adam Copeland got misted by House of Black, and then Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay tore the house down. Then, of course, Jack Perry returned and struck Tony Khan, the CEO, the founder, the man who put all his faith in Swerve. On top of that, BVPS came down and put him down with a pile driver. There's no telling when we're going to see Khan in healthy conditions again. Swerve says he's done some horrible things in the industry and in AEW, but something about for elite athletes coming down and beating up a non-fighter is a move. The fans chant move at that. Time to get to business, though. The most important thing that happened this week was Swerve winning the title at Dynasty. It's a pet peeve of his that people walk around calling themselves the best in the world, but the real best in the world is whoever is holding that championship, and that would be him. His daughter told him the night he won the title that she feels like she doesn't know him. It hit him hard. He's had to sacrifice so much for this. He can't make up for lost time, but what he can do is set a good example by blazing a trail as AEW champion and make sure this was all worth it. AEW has set people in front of him and he's knocked them all down. Kyle Fletcher was just won this past week. And this week he's in a giving mood and wants to do an open challenge with the AEW championship on the line. But only for someone who really wants to fight. We're entering a new era, the Dynasty era, and the lead of that dynasty will be Swerve. Claudio music hits the loudspeakers. He's in a suit, so maybe not answering the challenge just yet. Claudio simply says you're on. Swerve says I guess I'll be seeing you tonight in whose house? Claudio rips the mic away and says it's gonna be mine. After a recap of the Elite and Jack Perry attacking Khan, Tony tells us he suffered multiple head and neck injuries and he has not been cleared to travel, so he won't be on the road with AEW. However, he'll be able to continue running the company from Jacksonville, which is what he'll be doing. Nigel wonders what that could mean for the shows out on the road, and if the EVPs will be running things as they see fit in Khan's absence. Tony tells everyone again that Khan will be the one running things. Next up is Bang Bang Gang vs. Top Flight and Action Andretti. This was for the United Trios Championship. This was your usual six-man tag, with the baby faces getting their comeback spots and Andretti playing the role of hot tag. The heels would always get back to control while they continued teasing out a title change. In the end, Jay White hit the Blade Runner for the pin on Andretti to retain the titles. Bang Bang Gang defeated Top Flight and Action Andretti via pinfall. House of Black promo video. Brody King says the match at Dynasty went exactly how they hoped it would, and he now has multiple wins over the TNT champion. Malachi Black says they accept the Cope Open, but who will wrestle? It could be any of the three. Buddy Matthews says on May 1st in Winnipeg, Copeland will find out when the rest of the world will find out. Next up is Rey Fenix versus the Beast Mortos. Fenix hasn't been seen since early October of last year, something commentary was sure to point out multiple times. He started trying to take the mask off, but the referee stopped him. Finally, Fenix made his comeback, but even then Mortos was kicking out at one. Fenix went up top for a big spot to the outside and nearly injured his lower leg in the process at one point. Mortos couldn't keep Fenix down, who kept coming back with everything he had. A frog splash got to, but a roll-through pin finally managed to keep Mortos down. Rey Fenix defeated the Beast Mortos via pinfall. Next up is Rush versus Martin Stone. This was pretty much exactly what you thought it would be when you saw the two names. Rush took it to Stone, with a sustained offense that Stone had no answer for. It wasn't long into it before he finished it with a running dropkick in the corner. Rush defeated Martin Stone via pinfall. Instead of leaving, Rush hit Stone with another running dropkick in the corner before posing in the middle of the ring. The Professor Serena Deeb interviewed. She's asked what message she's trying to send. She says it's simple. On the one hand, you have Toni Storm, one of the greatest champions in this company's history. On the other, you have Deeb, the top contender to a title. After everything she's been through, failure is not an option. It's now or never. After 4 years of everyone telling her how great she is and how she should be champion, it's time to prove it. She's never been champ, and now it's time to finally get that accomplishment. Toni, this isn't a movie, sweetie. This is real life. That takes us into the next match. Toni Storm versus Anna Jay. During the match, Storm executed a hip attack on Jay on the apron and Mariah May got taken out by it. Storm tended to her and went back inside to a neck breaker. Jay worked Storm over until she locked in the sleeper. Storm managed to get out, hit the hip attack in the corner, Storm 0, and that was it. Toni Storm defeated Anna Jay via pinfall. Next up is Grizzled Young Vets' debut in AEW against the Acclaimed. Max Caster made a joke about dropping them on their necks like Tony Khan and sending them back to the Impact Zone. Caster was the guy who took a beating for a while to set up the hot tag to Bowens. Scissor Me Timbers with Daddy doing the bicycle on the apron late in the match. Always a fun time with this crew. The Vets isolated Caster and took him out, then nearly took Bowens down with a cross-ring dropkick off the top rope. They started yelling at Daddy, who took his shirt off and made like he was going to interfere, but the ref warned him off. It gave Caster time enough to get back into the match and take Drake out so they could get the mic drop on Gibson to win it. The Acclaimed defeated Grizzled Young Vets via pinfall. They interview Shibata, asking him about challenging Chris Jericho for the FTW Championship on Dynamite. Does he have any words? He holds up a phone doing the translating for him. He has something for Jericho on Wednesday, but tonight on Rampage he'll fight alone. Daniel Garcia shows up to say they've battled a lot before and if he needs help against STP then he'll be there. Shibata tells him okay. Save the last dance for me. It's main event time on Collision. Swerve Strickland versus Claudio for the AEW World Championship. Claudio kicked out of the stomp, which had Nigel losing it seeing as that is what beat Samoa Joe for the title. Swerve set up for the house call but Claudio grabbed his legs and instantly went into the giant swing. Swerve took quite a few rotations before the follow-up sharpshooter. Swerve kept trying to get to the ropes, so Claudio gave up the sharpshooter and instead locked on the crossface. The champ appeared to be in trouble, but he rolled back and got to. Claudio went for the neutralizer, but Swerve fought out. A running lariat got a close to. Swerve finally came alive again shortly after and went for the Swerve stomp, but Claudio straight up caught him and uppercut him for 2. Insane. Claudio no-sold a kick, but Swerve managed to get the stomp out of nowhere and then hit the house call to retain his title. Swerve Strickland defeated Claudio via pinfall. That was one hell of a first title defense. Swerve offered up his hand for a shake after and Claudio took it. That's it for Collision. Rampage time. We're right into the parking lot fight. Trent Beretta versus Chuck Taylor. They remind us that Taylor told Cassidy to let him do this alone. They fought using all the gimmicks, the trash cans and lids, onto cars, with blood being spilled early. Beretta did an elbow drop from one car onto another but only got 2. A flat screen TV was thrown at a man's head. A slingshot to the flatbed of a truck, aluminum dust pans to the dome. Beretta was slammed through a windshield, both guys bleeding everywhere. Taylor took a pile driver on top of a fedora. Beretta then locked on a sleeper and Taylor passed out almost immediately. The referee called it. Trent Beretta defeated Chuck Taylor via submission. The folks in attendance for this chanted, "You suck at Beretta." Cassidy and Statlander showed up just in time for Beretta to use a wrench to break Taylor's foot through the window of the car. He said this is your fault to Cassidy before he did it, and then ran off after. Don Callis was shown watching backstage. Kyle O'Reilly interviewed, "What's next for him?" He says Collision is going to his hometown on May 11th, in the same building he saw his first event. He told his dad he would do this one day, and it's 25 years later and he'll be doing it. He's here to compete against the best wrestlers this world has to offer, and fortunately for him he's in AEW, where the best wrestle. Next up is Thunder Rosa versus Deonna Purrazzo. They got after each other right away, laying into each other heavy. Rosa got the edge and took it to Deonna. They switched the roles and it was Rosa doing a lot of selling. She made her comeback and locked in a rear naked choke, but Purrazzo smashed her off. They went back and forth. Deonna got the armbar, and Rosa managed to roll her up off it for the finish. Thunder Rosa defeated Deonna Purrazzo via pinfall. She again yelled at the camera about how she won, and sorry. Deonna then rushed up and attacked her from behind, upset at the result. Purrazzo choked her against the barricade and slapped her chest, just for Rosa to respond with a slap to the face. They were working stiff with it. They fought out right in front of the fans until security showed up to separate them. Deonna flipped her off as she was being dragged away. Undisputed Kingdom interviewed. They say they want to wish a speedy recovery to the world's greatest boss, TK. Strong congratulates Will Ospreay, saying he did it. He signed, sealed, and delivered the demise of the aerial assassin at Double or Nothing. He's been great and everyone sings his praises, but that won't save him from the Messiah the Backbreaker. Next up is Big Bill versus Trevor Blackwell. Bill attacked Blackwell while he was playing to the crowd during his intro. Bill kept talking to the camera, saying Chris Jericho should be watching him. They showed Jericho doing just that. He toyed with Blackwell, not allowing him to be pinned to quick. Big chokeslam, boot on the chest, and that was that finally. Big Bill defeated Trevor Blackwell via pinfall. Tony called Blackwell a young man and a fine athlete, but he just ran into Bill at the wrong time. Jericho was shown clapping backstage while Bill said, "Teach me, learning tree, I hope you were watching." It's main event time on Rampage. Shibata and Daniel Garcia versus Shane Taylor Promotions. This was your fun tag team match to end the show. In the end, Shibata and Garcia managed to pull out the win. Shibata and Garcia defeated STP via pinfall. Garcia spent a bunch of time in the ring celebrating and doing his dance to a nice response. He went out to the crowd to celebrate even after Shibata left. That's the show, folks. End.